Okay, let's make sure. There we go. Welcome to Kalari's Crafting Chat. Sorry about that. I had the flash drive in because I wanted to move my notes over to this computer. The office computer is separated from my personal computer, so I just wanted to make sure that everything was hooked up the way it needed to be. We are going to get started with 2D. He is going to be the topic of paint today. A lot of people know I'm a huge fan of gorillas. I did a couple of shorts of these 3D prints that I've made. This time I did him in a beige. It's going to be easier to paint than even the white. And it's nice because I am a huge fan of gorillas, and I already painted one for a friend to cheer him up after the job passed him up for a promotion. And sometimes it just cheers people up when they get something that they appreciate and love. You just have to get a little smuts that was on his hair off. Thing with filament printing is you have to use supports. So sometimes you get it all off, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you almost end up wrecking the figure. Luckily for me, even though he's a lanky bro, it was easy to get the supports off of him. Unlike Russell, who I am going to have to be super careful with this bigger one of him because it's all around his drums and I don't want to mess up the cymbals. But I'm looking forward to getting him free and then doing the paint job on him. And as you know, I already did one in Noodles. I have several phases from 1 to 8 that I am going to be printing and painting of the Gorillas because they are my favorite band. And as promised, Lucario. Let me move 2D out the way. I think he came out nice. Greg wants to put like a little translucent marble in here so that his aura sphere is actually glowing. I think it came out pretty nifty from the front to the back. So I'm really happy about this print. But we are going to get down to business. As you know, we are in almost a full month of this government shutdown. Mike Johnson and the Senate and House Republicans are stalling at the expense of the American people. A lot of states, including this state, which was surprising to me because I thought they had a backup, are telling SNAP beneficiaries that they are not going to receive benefits or they may not receive benefits for November. The Detroit Free Press broke it yesterday that now Michigan's added to the list along with Pennsylvania, California, New York, and several red states. So I guess these states, even though we normally fund red states, allocated a lot of food monies from the federal government pile instead of a state pile. So it is going to be a shitty holiday for a lot of Americans. And I made this short with LTX Studio just to express how Thanksgiving may end up being for a lot of people, not just in the Rust Belt, apparently. I didn't zoom out to the dejected looking family members for some reason. But it's fine. I had another one up there as well of just the decrepit White House. I'm going to move on to Cowboy Paul while I start prepping 2D so he can explain what's going on with these benefits. And this is Shane. And this is why I remind people I got this fixed yesterday to vote. Let's get Cowboy Paul fired up.
To the woman in the viral video that's sitting there munching toast, talking ugly, to the people that aren't going to get their SNAP benefits next month, talking about, well, what'd you do with it last month? Mind your business. You look like a miserable individual, and I'm glad I don't know you because I can take one look at you and the way you talk and the way you conduct yourself and know that you are somebody that I am just damn glad is not anywhere in my.
Now, I'm going to stop Cowboy Paul right there because I understand his sentiment. I do. There are a lot of people just trying to score dunks on needy families. And I also get the sentiment that a lot of these people that have been complaining on social media, you want to kind of figure out how they voted because it's really funny now that these people are expecting sympathy when it's like, well, who'd you vote for? That's my stance. I don't care if it makes me a villain or whatnot. How did you vote is what I want to know. And apparently, there's going to be a lot of back and forth, but I still don't think it's okay to shame people who need this. Because, like I said, if you haven't been in a situation where you've needed help at some point, especially if you have babies or have babies, you're lucky. You're one of the few lucky. And thanks for the lurk, Solomon. Let him finish. Okay, the sound is not coming through. Give me just a moment. There we go.
with your phone in your face, shoving food in your mouth, talking shit about people. Don't know how they're going to make it through next month. Why don't you just shut the hell up and mind your motherfucking business?
And I get it. Tensions are high right now. There are people who are really seriously going to suffer because of this Republican shutdown. And I won't stop calling it that no matter how mad it makes some people. Mike Johnson is Speaker of the House. It is his job as Speaker of the House to call session to get Miss I'm gonna butcher her name. I'm blanking on it. But the young lady from Arizona sworn in, and to come to the table with a new plan that will work for not knocking America's citizens off of their health care. And for some reason, the Republicans seem a-okay with the holiday season of all times for people to struggle and not be able to feed themselves or their families. They want to make up lies about, oh, it's guy gamers that are causing this issue. And there are some idiots that really are believing in that nonsense. So today we are going to break down just how craven Trump and his cronies are and just show you the idiocy of all this. And we are going to get fired up with this Ari Melber video because Trump apparently is suing the DOJ for $230 million for something that he did himself and was caught in 4K doing. And you can't make this up. That's why this title is C is for corruption, because it's plain as we all can see. Let's get this fired up because it's going to make you mad if you have any kind of brain cells.
President Trump is trying to move over $200 million from taxpayers into his own pocket. It is a blatant grift. It's an ethics scandal, but it actually gets worse in the details of why the president claims that he should be paid out of the federal funds you, of course, pay through your tax dollars. Trump demanding that his own DOJ, he's still overseas, of course,
Then that needs to drop.
pay him $230 million from taxpayers. He cites his own conduct that led to past federal investigations as the reasoning. Now, just off top here, no president has ever tried to take money directly for himself from the DOJ like this. Never. The plot comes also as an escalation of a range of profiteering and ethics scandals by Trump himself, as well as his family members. He's insisted on profiteering from his businesses while in office. No other president's done that.
Not at all.
Presidents have had other jobs or worked at law firms, but they cut that off in office. He has not. He's offered White House access recently to crypto investors. Again,
Which, once again, this is beyond corruption. Most presidents follow protocol. It's not like a president can come from nothing. Trust and believe they have to have normally politician experience or at least business and law experience. This man knows that there's a system of ethics. He just doesn't want to follow the rules. And all these people are like, oh, but he gave up his presidential paycheck to be president. And it's like he's making millions, if not billions, on all of these scams. Anybody who thinks he's doing this for nothing is a sucker and a pigeon, as far as I'm concerned.
and that's not political campaign donors only. It's just people involved in enriching him and his family crypto funds.
Yep.
The family also trades on its government power across several businesses. It's almost hard to keep track of. So,
It's a whole slush fund is stupid. And I'm going to warn you right now. He's doing all this with crypto, yet crypto is still not a federally backed currency. And I know some people are like, well, that's why I like it. It's not regulated. But non regulated and non federally backed means anybody can scam you. If there is no regulacy in money, it means that anybody can pull an okey doke. And so many Americans and people, even around the world, have already lost all their money to little rug pulls. Need I remind you, you need to watch this guy, CoffeeZilla. He has broken down so many crypto scams, including the current Trump one. I really wish people would get more financially literate and understand that crypto is in its infancy still, basically. Even though it's been around for a few years, there is no regulation. There's no even substance to a lot of it yet. It is what people inflate the value as, and inflation can always turn around and has for several coins. People have made crypto games that have gone nowhere. People have invested their life savings only to be bankrupt as wealthier people take that gamble and then run off with your actually federal backed money. So you really, really, truly need to be careful with this. I don't care if this makes people mad. I would rather make you mad and think before you invest your money in something that currently only has value as long as it's being pumped up by little grifters like Trump and his family.
this damning bombshell from the New York Times today comes in this context about the money first, shaking down the government second, a kind of a king attitude of, hey, he is the state is him, even as there is a no king's backlash that we've all been covering.
Exactly.
Basically, third, Trump is claiming the reason, because they're still pushing some sort of reason, the taxpayers should pay him, compensate him, is because of his own conduct that led to him being under federal investigation.
Exactly.
And by the way, I'm going to make this point briefly and then show you some examples, but other individuals in and out of government have been under investigation. Sometimes you're cleared or there's no trial, other times you get in trouble.
Yep, he was a horn dog that got busted messing around with an intern. Everybody remembers the stained blue dress and the cigar jokes. But there's a difference between being an inappropriate horn dog, which a lot of people knew about Bill Clinton. It was the talk of the town and jokes galore. SNL had a field day about it. And literally bleeding our country dry when we're going through a shutdown that has millions, if not more, Americans with food insecurities and going to be starving these next few months because Mike Johnson refuses to do his job and Trump is a grifting idiot. Nope. Do you remember that? I remember. Yeah. Which I remind you, this was a part of the whole Republican playbook, and we warned people. I remember going the rounds on Twitter when I was on that site with people who didn't take seriously that they were literally stuffing the Supreme Court full of yes people, full of people that would sign on to the agenda of looking away from Trump's literal crimes in order to ingratiate themselves. Thomas, Alito, the beer guy, so many of them, and the handmaiden, I didn't forget about her either, were literally pushed through. by Trump and the Republicans. These people who denied both President Obama and President Biden appointees until President Biden finally got one appointee in, had to deal with all of this garbage for years because it was their strategy, the GOP strategy, to pack our Supreme Courts with conservative yes men and women and pass stuff to give Trump immunity, along with restricting our rights by repealing Dobbs, which makes Roe v. Wade invalid in several states under Republican leadership. And they are literally spearheading all the Project 2025 bullshit. We warned you this shit was going to happen, and too many people still aren't taking this shit seriously. Exactly. Which he did. Which he was not allowed to take, even as a sitting president, but as a former president and then private citizen, what he did was highly illegal, highly unethical, and a danger to national security. Point blank. He thinks he's above the law, and now on top of fucking up our White House, which I need to remind people yet again, that is literally the people's White House that taxpayer dollars sustains, and he's bulldozing it for a vanity project, $250 million ballroom that he claims is coming from private donors. And now we're supposed to just sit there and let him grift $230 million for something he knows he fucking did. He was caught in real K with documents that he should not have had. But people want to still act stupid and brand new to Trump's corruption. A man who can bankrupt casinos should never have been in charge of our government, period. It's ridiculous. Yep. 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 Corrupt Bondi bitch. And no offense, because, like, I get it. I get the point he's making. And I need to make a addition to that, because when I was younger, I studied criminal justice. Before I went into a business lean, I honestly thought I was going to go into law. And one of the things that people don't understand is that when you are a defense attorney, your whole specialty, your whole studying is how to protect someone when they are being prosecuted and from crimes if they normally didn't commit it. But they are there to defend somebody even if they are guilty of the crimes. And what Pan Bondi and all of them are doing goes beyond that. This isn't just simple as protecting a client. This is helping a criminal literally bilk the American people out of taxpayer dollars at a time where the shutdown is really destroying our economy. And it's sick that people are still trying to defend this. It's indefensible. He said Trump demand to pay him $230 million for past cases. Senior department officials who were defense lawyers for the president and those in his orbit are now in jobs that typically must approve of any such payout, underscoring potential, not even potential, definite ethics conflicts. course they did. This is so ridiculous. Listen to this shit. 25th Amendment now, please. Please get this man out of office. This is ridiculous. Do you hear this rambling? It's a good lawsuit. And I'm suing myself. It's great. I'm winning. This is not a president. This is a man who didn't get hugged enough by his mommy when he was a toddler. Ridiculous. Please don't give him any. Yep. Yep. Exactly. Perfect analogy. It's literally a crook saying, even though you caught me in 4K doing this crime, that I demand payment because I feel slighted by the fact that you caught me committing this crime. It is ethically ridiculous. It is just another way for Trump to enrich him and his family at the expense of taxpayers who, I'm going to keep reminding you, that this shutdown is literally hurting America's citizens. And it just seems to me that the people who should give a damn don't seem to give a damn because they still think their side is winning as this man completely bankrupts the American foundation. It is insane to me how much you think this win of yours is a real win. Of course, rules for me, not for thee. Yeah, look at this. All the people who have helped convict him for crimes that he did. Letitia James, who successfully got him charged with 34 crimes in the state of New York, financial based crimes, including the hush money thing with Stormy Daniels. James Comey, who used to be his former FBI head, but would not do what he wanted to do, which was go after both Joe Biden's son for ridiculous reasons and the Clintons, who he targeted in his first term. You don't see the Clintons, who probably could sue him for that, doing that. Representative Monica McGyver, a New Jersey representative who has come out against Trump heavily because of his non-ethics. John Bolton, who was literally on his administration, who helped push through a lot of BS, but he didn't like it. Charles charges have been dropped against one, but he's also trying to subpoena Fannie Willis because she said, we in Georgia, because I used to live in Georgia, so I say we in Georgia because I lived there for a bit, will hold off on the 91 charges against you for harassment and federal vote tampering. I remember Ruby and Mrs. Shea being harassed as poll workers by his MAGA morons. Those women had their lives threatened and everything based on his big lie. So Georgia's waiting for him. And I guess he thinks he's going to intimidate Miss Willis with this nonsense, but I don't think he understands black women. It is. Exactly. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And I couldn't have said that better myself. Ari Miller is on MSNBC. I don't normally watch MSNBC anymore. I'm thankful for them uploading stuff to YouTube. But it goes without saying that this is Trump's whole thing. He wants to bleed our country dry. We have Anonymous here with their take on Trump's America. Because, like I said in that short I made, this is going to be a rough holiday season because he's too busy enriching himself at the cost of the American people. So let's get this fired up. Embarrassing. Exactly. Before I even look, because the fake look on her face is already infuriating enough. Because you're trying to convince Americans it's okay for that ultra processed box crap to make a comeback, as you said. And anybody who's known anybody who's had to struggle with food knows that Hamburger Helper didn't go anywhere in some areas and stuff. My first experience with Hamburger Helper, I'm not even gonna front. In New York, we didn't eat shit like that. We just didn't. In my grandparents' house especially, we didn't have food like that. It wasn't until I got with my ex while we were living in Florida that I was introduced to that, and he loved that shit. I often was like, ugh. And I'm telling you this, I wasn't a skinny person at all, but there's a difference in quality. And the bad thing is, for all of that in that $1.67 box of highly processed noodles, dried weird sauce spices that you still had to add ground beef to. You could literally buy a cheap box of pasta, actual seasonings, and put together a much better, more sodium controlled version yourself. But they bank on people being so fiscally and just life uneducated that they think this is okay to promote crap like this instead of saying our economy's tanking. American people have to rely on this cheap shit to survive now. Ugh. Yep. We're gonna get chickens. It's the only way now. I've been bartering 3D prints with another lady who has chickens. I can't stand Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's gonna make some points here, but once again, she's gonna call Trump our great president. So I want you to understand that she is just it's like Game of Thrones right now in the GOP. She is trying to secure an upper position. Remember this. Because some people are praising her saying, oh, she's gonna become a new Democrat. No, she's not. She is MAGA to our heart's content. She just doesn't want the economic fallout of some of these dumber policies. Oh, yeah. See? Our great president. Bullshit. And I'll say this about Argentina. If we were helping out a country in need that was really going through stuff, like I had no problem with aid to Ukraine. I still don't have a problem with aid to Ukraine. I did have a problem with aid to Israel because of what Netanyahu was doing. It is on a case by case basis. But the Argentinian stuff boggles my mind because they turned around and literally screwed us over with China. Our farmers are going to suffer. Now our cattle ranchers are going to suffer because the White House doesn't know what it's doing. And because the Argentinian president is just as dumb of a dictator as Trump, he is okey doked, probably one of the worst presidents in American history. America First was awful when Truman and Roosevelt tried it. That's why Dr. Seuss had all those political cartoons about it, because America First is always a slogan for fascism, whether people want to hear that shit or not. We are a big global world. And those who want to say, oh, we got to put ourselves first without realizing how much of our hands is in geopolitics are ignorant. They voted for this. And this is where the bleach got to her brain. Who cares where it's located geographically? I care that $40 billion is wasted on somebody who turned around and screwed us. But let's not let Marge wax poetic on geographical locations. She's an idiot. I've never liked her. Let's bop ahead just a little bit because she gets on my nerves. We all know what she's doing. She did it to the last speaker. She's trying to do it to this speaker. I think she thinks she can become Speaker of the House by acting like this. And I'm just hoping that we get out to vote in the midterms. Yep. We're the baby's daddy. That's what people are saying to other people. Wow. Eh, Man, literally bankrupt casinos. Casinos. But we're supposed to ignore that. 7 bankruptcies. But we're supposed to ignore that. Oh, and Deutsche Bank over hundreds of millions of dollars. These weird deals with Kushner and Wanak, or however you say that rat guy's name. He's a con man. And so many of you have fallen for his okey doke, and it's hard to deprogram dunces. He loves the poorly educated. Yeah, he's fuck up. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yep. Trump steaks, Trump vodka. Yep. Exactly. Point blank. Yep. Yeah, right. Yep. Carolyn Levitt is a fucking liar. The only grace I could take is that she's already getting on his nerves. So she'll probably be gone because, like his first term, we'll probably see another set of revolving door people in his administration. I almost look forward to it each time because he is a tantrum toddler, and it doesn't take much to fall out of grace with him. And it's going to be funny to see her go and see what other bleach Barbie he puts up there that can spin his propaganda properly. Or maybe he'll just forego it and put that ghoul Stephen Miller up there. Who knows? It's just a circus at this point. And we all have paid a shitty admission price, even though we really don't want to go to the circus. No, he didn't. That's a lie. Need I remind you that his policies fucked up farmers so bad that one of the first things the Biden administration had to do when they stepped in, besides the COVID rollout, was a plan to help boost farm sales, which was a deal we had with China that allowed us to have a surplus, like billions of dollars in sales to China for soybeans because it's harder for them to grow. That was President Biden's work. That is shit that Trump took and destroyed. And now our farmers are suffering from it. People are going to literally lose things that they probably had in their family for generations because of this administration. And just because a talking Barbie says, oh, he loved you guys, doesn't mean it. Show it with action, not words. Because right now, he is tanking our economy. And that's not love to me. I don't care what you say. Bullshit. Yep. You would hope so. Yep. Ridiculous. Exactly. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And that was anonymous with the lowdown of what's going on right now. And at the worst possible time. He wouldn't be the first American president that had to deal with harsh realities of economics. We had presidents that had to guide us through literal Great Depression. But never during those times did we have to worry about those presidents trying to only enrich themselves. It is a mess. And the fact of the matter is, we should be livid that this man is running our country into the ground while ingratiating himself and his family with foreign dictators, especially, and trying to make himself wealthy at the expense of everybody else. But I'm not shocked. Here's some more corruption. Remember those rioters on January 6th? Actual, literal domestic terrorists, if you really want to be factual about it? People who tried to stop our democratic process of election because the giant man baby, the almost 80-year-old toddler, couldn't accept that Joe Biden had won and he had lost. And I remember that because it was all broadcast. And one of those fuckers who got busted in the White House, well, yeah, in the Capitol, just ruffling through things and got pardoned by this criminal, Trump, is now in trouble again for threatening the life of sitting representative of New York, Hakeem Jeffries, somebody who's been very vocal against this bill that wants to take American citizens off their health care. So let's get this fired up by ABC News. And you can just see this is who they are. When people show you who they are, believe it. Let's get this fired up because it's not shocking or surprising, but it's sickening how these people try to get away with stuff. Ridiculous. Oh my god, look at this dude. He looks like a psycho. And calling Hakeem Jeffries a terrorist is it's the coded language. Between that, calling immigrants vermin and stuff, you need to pay attention to the lessons and language of fascism. Because this is how they corrupt people who think they're innocent, people who think they're good, into being their loyal, jackbooted foot soldiers for fuckery. And that's basically what anybody who is following Trump into this hell of hatred are. Use a literal foot soldiers for fuckery, whether you want to accept it or not. And this guy looks deranged.
I am hated.
Ridiculous. Wow. Ridiculous. Those are domestic terrorists. Yeah, because they're criminals. Are you shocked that they're going back in? I'm not. Yep. We are in crazy times where everything feels literally upside down now. These people think they can get away with literal murder. And it's not going to stop at just text threats. These are the same fuckers who tried to kidnap Big Gretch. The MAGA virus is dangerous, and there are way too many people infected with it. Let's see. Yeah, we have one more by Anonymous. I was going to do two, but we only got 9 minutes left, and I want to try to finish up 2D while I'm still live. This is a fun project. We are going to see the fall of a president on live television, and it's really funny how yeah, because I've already talked about his prosecuting himself. Let's get this fired up because it really does show how ridiculous Trump is and how his base is just tired of his nonsense. Mm-hmm. Domestic terrorists. Look at that face. Look at he's a petulant child. A sitting representative's life was threatened. Not some turning point bigot, but a literal sitting House of Representative member. And the way his face was like, well, I don't care. This man shouldn't be president. Yeah. Unhinged. What are you making up now? What guy in Virginia? Give us a name because you make up stuff on the fly, old man. Just like your 37, 34 year wars. What? The actual fuck? You were told, but he wasn't. You don't know anything about crypto. Fake news. He's a toddler. Then why did you pardon him? So if somebody has a lot of support but committed a crime, according to this doofus, he should get a presidential pardon. It's insanity. Bullshit. That's why I warn people on that crypto shit. No kidding. Oh Lord. Lies. And he's killing civilians. Which is illegal. No, you shouldn't. It's like terrorism. It's terrorism. Bullshit. All he cares about is money, and he's tanking our economy. Make that shit make sense. Those crowds were bigger than your shitty rallies and your sad inaugurations combined. Don't be jealous because nobody likes you except for your MAGA loyal. Ridiculous. You do realize that's what print shops are for? You realize that people can make their own signs if they want, but if they want nice, clear signs, they'll probably shell out a couple of bucks for a printing place. And that also fuels our economy when people do stuff like that. But what do I expect from somebody who literally bought his way through Walton College to graft? Dumbass. Oh, here we go with Soros's ghost. They're not going crazy. It's the peacefulest protest ever. You're a professional agitator. No, they don't. Yep. Not an ordinary. It's like he described those Charlotte rally assholes, the Tiki Torch Nazis, as good people. Bullshit. Yep. Deny and deflect. Mm-hmm. Childish. They were domestic terrorists. Busted. Yep. He stokes it. Yes. Yep. Not with Bondi in charge, it won't. Of course he did. He's delusional. Ridiculous. A literal toddler. Yes, it does. And once again, thank you, Anonymous, for all that you do. I know a lot of people want to go, oh, it's just Antifa. And it's like, no. These are people that are global, that see what's going on in this country and understand the damage it's going to do to all of us. And the fact that he still has supporters that can look away from literal assassination attempts on sit-in representatives, yet got mad about Charlie Kirk, a known provocateur who got a bullet from a weirdo Mormon guy who grew up MAGA. I'm not going to let you forget that. That's why I did not fucking put his face everywhere. Because if he had been one of them radical left terrorists that this man whines about all the time, Fox News would have had a field day with that. It would be 24/7. What about this guy? He represent you guys. And because they can't do that with him, because he's not giving them what they want with that, it's crickets. And I would love to know the supposed Virginia guy, that's a Democrat, that was threatening the lives of anybody. Because our party doesn't put up with that. Whether you call it infighting or not, if somebody's a piece of shit and wants to run under the Democrat banner, they're going to have a very hard time. They are not going to get voters behind them because we don't want that kind of energy in our party. We don't want to support people who are unhinged like that. And that Moynihan guy should have never been released. He is literally unhinged. And it is going to sadly probably take the death of somebody innocent again. And even then, it won't affect his base because hate is all they have. And there you go, guys. I am done so far with 2D. I might do some touching up. I will be back on Tuesday with an all new crafting chat. I'm still trying to figure out a way to get the C drama format up and running. But every time I think, okay, maybe I can take a Tuesday or a Friday to just watch C drama movies and enjoy that, this dipshit administration ends up doing something stupid. So bear with me, y'all. I apologize if you're looking forward to the C drama reviews. I'm definitely going to make that the YouTube live focus because politics can be exhausting. But for now, I'm going to wrap this up. Please remember to vote. It really does matter. The midterms are coming up, and the only way we are going to stop this current set of madness is to exercise our right to vote and use our voice against this administration. But long goodbyes away. I will see you next week. Have a great weekend.